spawning in the top left-hand corner as the blue Terran makes a noise for Team NV. Bunny. His opponent in the red, from KaiZ Gaming, a legendary Zerg. It's Solar. Oh. Alright. I'm very surprised to see this series start off on Curious Minds. Actually, one of the most unique maps, I would say. Rush distance is pretty brief, but it's very complicated to walk through the map. Just like that. And to our ramps work on this map, lots of side blockers. And honestly, lots of dangerous terrain to send your army into if you're not aware about what is waiting for you. Of course, one of the most contended points will definitely be those two watchtowers you can see on the minimap. Especially in a matchup such as ZVT, where things tend to die pretty fast. Surprise, surprise. The two quotes-unquote glass cannon raises. You tend to give some problems when it comes to walking through the map without vision control. Not sure what to expect out of Bunny mostly. Solar is developing a playstyle mostly intended to rush tech to the later stages. I'm not seeing him play quite as aggressively as he was in the past. Used to be one of the most aggressive Zerg players in pretty much all matchups, but has slowly become a very greedy Zerg instead, which is an interesting development. Even for veterans, it comes a point in their career in which they just develop new playstyles, and Solar has become insanely good at rushing to the later stages without being punished. Maybe it's not surprising to someone, but it definitely was to me. Bunny, on the other hand, was a pretty... I should like to say that vanilla Terran sounds bad. Bunny is a min-maxer. Let's put it like that. He's one of those Terrans who just plays a very standard couple builds and develops them to their fullest. Never want to truly innovate. But they're focusing on his performance altogether. It's a Banshee opener on the side of Bunny, sending as many aliens in as possible to divert the attention of the queens, get a couple crit tumors, and maybe even check some timings. Drone transferring, links not high enough in numbers, and stuff such as that. 6 aliens now, and you can see the side blockers already working pretty much in favor of Bunny. He's going through undetected terrain, since the queens not watch through that. One overload is gonna get a perfect scouting about all of the production that Bunny was putting down. This is actually an incredibly surprising overload. But of course, once you go for Banshee Cloak, you're not gonna have a lot of Marines on the ground to stop the scouting. You're not gonna have Vikings to kill the overload. Or Liberators, for what it's worth. So, most often than not, the Banshee Cloak play is one play that never goes unscouted. Or at least very rarely goes unscouted. Something has to go very wrong for the Zerg to not get a glimpse of this, unless the Terran decides to work it slower and play with more Marines. But you can see that right now it's just about the perfect time these Banshees can hit. No Overseer on the field, a couple Spore Crawler, yes, but these Banshees are taking lives. They're forcing the Queens away so that the Hellions can get something through themselves. The Queens try to get into position, but they're not fast enough to get into that mineral line. Over here on the left side, Queens are walking into dangerous terrain. The Hellions decide to go past them. That's a lot of lanes waiting for them in their mineral line. Not gonna be any more damage dealt unless these Banshees decide to get something done in the main. The Queens react perfectly in time. Drones being transferred from left to right in his mineral line. And Bunny once again needs to leave with his hands empty. Mainly speed halfway through, while Bunny is getting his full transition into bio, getting lots and lots of Marines on the ground, the first few medivacs, and of course steam combat shields, infantry armor, infantry weapons. You know the drill, lads. Couple tanks are into this as well, and Bunny decides to hit with a pretty strong timing at this stage. Solar would not have Baneling speed for a little while, and you can see how much this watchtower control is worth in these stages of the game. Banelings cannot really get through this area that easily, and the Queens will need to give up lots of creep. The Marines will try to defend themselves from us around. Lanes will not get any surface area. A couple leg spikes. Hopefully all good for the players. That's a big counter-attack from Solar, forcing a cancel over here. Meanwhile, the Marines are not really pushing it through. There's Hellbats and Banshees though, so these lanes need to retreat. You can see Curious Minds working at its fullest. Very short rush distance for the Zerg player, especially with such quick spread diverted towards that area. Bunny needs to leapfrog his tank forwards. This is a much more dangerous position, but he needs to work over this way. Now that he has Hellbats to defend his tanks. Very low energy on the Medivac tanks. Try to get on the high ground, but here comes a big surround. Solar coming with full might. Will the tanks be enough? Banelings trying to get connections. The tanks will go down, and that was beautiful from Solar. Bunny goes straight into the main, but is losing tempo. Hydras are now on the field. You can see here on the left side that's not a strong army. There might not be Overseers with these Queens to kill the Banshees. Oh, never mind. Here comes the Overseer. You can see the Queens standing tough. Hydras with the army as well. And of course, Solar taking yet another base towards the northern eastern side of the map. And now big counter-attack. Beautiful play from Solar saving his lanes. That wasn't easy at all. One Widowmine would have spelled the end of Alfie's army. The drones died somewhere. Oh yeah, I guess over here. Is this a Widowmine? Oh yeah, of course it is. One single Widowmine will not get much done. We'll be saved by the Medivac though. Be sent to fight yet another day. I seriously doubt this Medivac is gonna get out of there. And it won't. Oh, but alright. Good drone control on the side of Solar. Pretty much flawless game so far by the Red Zerg. Another Widowmine connection doesn't really get the jackpot. Killing only 4 lanes after the previous mischance. But now there are 6-7 Widowmines on the field. That's a lot of Widowmines. You know what? Solar might have been a little bit too greedy. There's not a lot of army over here. The Hydras are not really cutting it through. there's not in there isn't any lurkers on the field yet, and these Widow Mines make it pretty much impossible for the Banelings to get through on top of these Marines. Lots and lots of lanes are trying to chime in right now that the road is free, but Bunny will transfer all of his army into the main, and that's gonna spell some problems. Widow Mines are spread on the low ground, but over here there's not much in the way of defense. It looks like Bunny will transfer his army yet again. Solar survives for the time being. Oh, these Widow Mines, they will not get good connections at all. Bunny needs to get out of there right now. But on the top right hand side, the big surround is incoming. The Widow Mines, will they get the connections they're looking for? No, they won't. Or maybe they will. Lots of Banelings died with that. And 2 Hydras died with that as well. Solar on the bottom left though is losing a base. There's not a lot of army over here from the Red Zerg. Lings basically suiciding themselves into this wall of bio. And it looks like one archery is finally going down. Finally things start to work in the favor of Bunny. But 7 lurkers are on the way, and it's gonna become much more difficult for the Terran to break through the defenses of Solar now that siege units are on the field. For the Zerg as well. Ooh, just in time. Lurkers pop up for the defense. They're gonna take some beating. There's not a lot of upgrades in the army of Solar, but they will stand their ground to defend their base. Over here on the bottom left though, this looks like a cancel to me. I don't really see a way of defending this yet. The army of Solar comes precisely when it needed to, and the archery stays up. Oh, Widowman shots. Oh, actually, I thought it killed more. Over here, tons and tons of Banelings connections, trying to get on top of the Marauders, trying to get over the Marauders. Meanwhile, the Lurkers get into position, and it looks like Bunny needs to retreat from their location. Can he hit at the usual third archery? Decides to collect his army and fly away into the top right. Vipers now on the field as well, and Ghosts are the immediate counter to both Vipers and Lurkers. It's all down to micro control. Solar is defending his bases pretty cleanly. The blinding clouds help these Lurkers a lot, but there's still need of a couple lanes. Over here, Bunny decides to collect his army and fly with its way too many medivacs in this army. Honestly, that's pretty much wasted supply. You're never gonna fly that much army out of there. Widowmine goes down before you can get a shot on the Lurkers. And their armor doesn't matter a lot against the mines, so better to get them out of the way. Same goes for the Liberators, honestly, but there's not a lot of Hydras on the field. A couple more are being added by Solar, who's almost maxed out. Gonna need to spread his army a little bit more thin in composition. Needs to trade some Lings and Banes down. They got a couple more Hydras, as you can see in the production tab. A couple Lurkers dying to the Snipes. And Bunny taking a small victory over here. Not much to abduct without Vipers, without Hydras to immediately kill the Liberators. And of course Ghosts are a little bit too of a threat to send the Vipers right into them. Infantry weapons +3 incoming. Meanwhile, a little bit of a counterattack incoming from Solar. As I was saying, trying to trade as many lanes as possible. Not much need for those minerals right now. Both players are gonna start to build a bank from now. Here comes the abducts at last to kill those Liberators. Bunny kind of forgot about him. 2 more Liberators incoming, but it's Ghosts that are the stars of this game as of now. Here comes the Snipes. A little bit too thin, honestly. These Ghosts might have threaded into a little bit of a danger spot, and 2 of them dying for no reason at all. 1 Medivac goes down as well as a Widowmine. 4 more Ghosts are being added over here by Bunny, defending from run-bys with lots of Widowmines being spread around. Watchtower under the control of Solar right now, but it looks like Bunny with a scan will send his Ghosts forward and drop a couple Snipes. Lots of energy on one of the Vipers. Can Solar push through off creep? It doesn't really look like it to me. Lots and lots of lurkers trying to spawn right now. And just when he needed them, they do not disappoint. Solar has his lurkers for defense, but so many snipes going on at once. These liberators being a true menace right now without enough hydras on the ground. So many scans and snipes. And 5 lurkers go down the brink of an eye. Oh, it was 3 lurkers, not 5. 1 nuke incoming as well from Bunny. Very curious to see where it will be dropped. The snipe goes on top of the most energy Viper. Here goes the Banelings trying to get connections over these ghosts. A couple of them will die, but most are surviving. The Widow Mines will keep the ghosts alive, even just barely. And lurkers cannot really work that deep of creep. Here comes the snipes to punish them. And Bunny pushes through. Ghosts looking mighty unstoppable as of now. Banelings do not get the connections that Solar needed. And even though the Zerg player is getting yet another expansion in the bottom left, the last available base to take, it really doesn't look like he's able to stop the aggression that Bunny is putting up throughout this game. Beautiful performance from the Blue Terran, who's now honestly not scared to walk on creep as well. You can see these ghosts basically deciding themselves to get a couple of snipes. A little bit too deep though, yet again. Solar finds a way to push through. The concave is perfect from Bunny though. And even though he loses a couple ghosts, he still comes out on top. There's 1 nuke available, 1 in the makings. The Banelings will try to drop down on top of these ghosts. They will get us some beautiful connections, killing 4 ghosts. But in the end, the Medivacs will keep the rest of the army alive, and more snipes are popping through, killing Hydras before the... Actually, there's no Vipers on the field. Killing Hydras before they can get on top of the Liberators, and now focusing down the Lurkers. Leapfrogging the Liberators forward. And Solar needs to retreat with his tail between his legs yet again. These Liberators and Ghosts being the true MVP, and here comes a nuke as well. Solar sees what's up. I think one of the Lurkers is in range. Ooh, that was risky. It was at range, but it was at the external range. Here comes the snipes. And here goes the Lurker. Bottom left, SCVs, long distance mining over here. 6 drones instantly die over here on the top right. And Solar will find himself transferring out of this base. Mine out of here a lot. So should be pretty happy about what has been going on towards that top right base so far. Since he's basically defending. And he's gonna... Ooh. Oh my. This nuke might kill a lot of stuff. Will it though? Will it though? Ooh. Juicy. 26 drones going down. Solar finding himself 27 drones of supply worth behind compared to the worker supply of Bunny. Actually 28 because Bunny was already ahead. Oof. I don't really see a way of Solar to come back from this unless Bunny seriously messes up. Oh, the Widow Mines will be killed by those Banelings pretty much all at once. Lots of ghosts dying, but the micro backwards from Bunny is pretty much perfect, and these Vipers cannot get a briefing. Oh, the ghosts will be sent to their deaths to allow some others behind them to stay alive. But you can see Bunny still has money to spend, still has more ghosts in the production tab, and Solar doesn't have much working for him. I think this is his whole supply worth of army. And yes, there's not a lot of splash damage in the army of Bunny as of now, but the Liberators are not gonna be easy to kill. So many medivacs with so much energy. Bunny taking control of another base here in the top right. Uncontested terrain to claim as well. Solar trying to get the base on the bottom left. Really managed. Liberators are not sieged, the Banelings did not get during connections, and it's only Hydras fighting against Bayo, and we all know how it goes. GG gets gold, and Bunny, it's game number 1 of the series. So what do we expect out of the Zerg this time? As I was introducing before, Glittering Ashes, it's not exactly the easiest map to get aggression going on, because you know that this choke point is it's not the best entry point. There's a ramp next to this fort, and the only real way to get into this fort is this very small area over here. On the left side, very small area as well. And you guessed it, this is the best possible entry to get something going. Natural, yeah, I wouldn't walk through this to this point. I'm gonna be honest with you. Dead airspace though, oof. Get as much of that as you want. That means that Muta plays suddenly become much more deadly due to the ease of defense with just Lane Bane and the ease of offense with the Mutas in the sky. And Solar has been showing us some very good Spire plays. I'm not sure who chose this map, but it's either relentless aggression with multi-pronged attacks on the side of the Terran, or it's a Spire play from Solar, trying to overtake control of the map. Oh, one Reaper actually will get one lane. This is, of course, the most exciting thing that can happen in this matchup. For at least the first 5 minutes. Oh, the Queen will silently watch the Reaper. Or not. No, they will struggle towards it. And at last. A little bit of damage onto the archer, it never hurts. Never does anything either. Oh, the Creep Tomb is actually exposed. This is a little bit bigger. So a little bit of lost time, honestly. This is a... Oh no! Oh no! 2 Creep Tumors? Yikes. Oh, that's a yikes. Creep will not be connected to the fur base for a while. For... I wouldn't say a minute, but... almost a minute more. Actually, let me check the energy. 25 on both of them. Yeah, like probably 30 seconds more. Ellington Reaper will try to make it even harder, and it's again a Banshee opener on the side of Bunny. I really want to see Solar get a 430 lair and start his Spire as soon as his lair finishes. Because that will be such a strong play into how Bunny has been playing throughout the first game. Such a good way to adapt. But of course, Solar knows better. So everything he does, it will probably be better than what I thought. Over here, of course, Steam will slowly start as soon as the second Banshee is ongoing in lair at 430. So we got the first spark straight. The Ola will get a full scouting and see the Banshee in the production, and we'll see Cloak being researched. It's not like you see that, but you know what it is. It's not Swift Service, spoiler. And as we try to break through these queens, but there's many more compared to the first game. And as I was saying, like, you can't really walk through here. You can't really walk through here. And this is pretty much where. This is pretty much the only possible position you can send your head in through, and Solar is already preemptively sending his Crypt Tumors towards that way. Double Eva Chamber incoming. Spells to me that probably Solar doesn't really want to go into that Spire play I was talking about. Probably gonna stay on the ground and get those carapace and melee upgrades as soon as he gets some banelings and centrifugal hooks going on for him. 2 banshees are finished and they're being sent towards the eastern part of the map. Here comes the carapace from Solar. Here comes the melee. Banshees will try to actually stop the archery. There isn't a single overseer on the map yet. Yeah, I think this is going to be a cancel. Or a kill? Oh my god. That was close. The drone goes down. There's no overseer with this yet. Here it comes. A little bit too late. And I was talking about dead airspace and glittering ashes. You can see already how it's working. Yes, the main is well defended. But you needed to cancel an archery. And it's never good against just the Banshee play. It's really never what you want to happen. Aliens going through the right side, a little bit faster Hydra than this time from Solar. Again, a little bit of a greedy play, but yeah, the Hydras were much needed earlier on against the previous play of Vani. So no big surprise to me that Solar is trying to cut some corners to get into lurkers ASAP. Goose points incoming for those Hydras as well to get a little bit more range. Twins will try to get on top of these aliens, doesn't manage to do so. Meanwhile on the left side, 2 full medivacs ready to fly in, maybe fight together with the Banshees on the right side. Here comes a drop. There's not much in the way of defense over here. I do feel like a couple drones will fall. The Marines are gonna try to work towards these little bit of a choke point towards that Evo chamber. Not much will go down. There's lots and lots of lanes on the ground for Solar. Widow Mines, of course, are gonna be there. Straight up counter, especially together with these Elbats. So I would decide not to go for the counter like he did in the previous game. And it looks like it's going to be a full answer round. The Banelings will get decent connections, but most of the units will just be collected by Bunny to fly away. Well, not really most. I'd say more than half. Oh, but the medivac goes down. Oh, it's not the full medivac. Alright. All good, all good. 2 Banshees still waiting for the moment to strike over here. Many lanes are being sent out to ensure the archery will go down. Hive incoming for Solar. Again. Might look like a greedy play, but having more lurkers on the field earlier on might seriously work in his favor in this game. His supply is pretty decent. He's defending cleanly again, just like the previous game. 10 minutes, very good defense. Solar has become one of the best Zerg out there to get as greedy as possible. And as you can see, like, he's not losing anything. Can this stand true after Bunny gets Ghosts and Widow Mines on the field? And Liberators, of course. That is for the next 5 minutes to tell. The tumors have been slowed down. Oh! Yikes! 21 kills on that Widow Mine. Yeah, that is oh no! Oh, Solar. Oh man. He's losing, I feel like, 40 supply of army to 2 Widow Mines. That is just not what you want to happen. Yeah, he's getting more Banelings right now, but he cannot really counter. And these Banshees are still taking lives. Bunny again. Oh my god. Oh no. Widow Mines. Oh, and they both survive? Yikes. Yeah, Solar, that wasn't really clean. Bunny doesn't have his transition available yet, so it's still all good for Solar. He's just gonna be like, yeah, whatever. I lost almost 1k worth of stuff. Yeah. I lost half my larva. But you know what, it's fine, it's fine. I don't have to fight against ghosts yet. Oof. I don't really see many differences compared to game 1. Oh, 9 more. Yeah, these Widow Mines are such a menace. Like all of a sudden 21 drones have fallen down for basically no reason at all. First Viper hitting the field. Adrenaline glands, +3 carapace, +1 missile attack for those lurkers to start getting something done once they hit the field. Lurker then should be finished, yes it is. Upgrades? No upgrades for the lurkers yet. Those are very important upgrades. 23 drones dying? Where? Oh no, these Widow Mines are just out microing Solar so far. Bunny losing quite a lot of supply to get this archery down. I don't really see the economy of Solar being really shining. But he's building up a small bank. And he will be defending with mostly Ling and Bane until he can afford the upgraded version of those lurkers. He doesn't want to get lurkers on the field without tunneling close and seismic spines, which is of course range and not a tunneling close, sorry, adaptive talents. This is adaptive talents. Tunneling close is the Burrow Roaches upgrade. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, for once we don't see Azure players suiciding Banelings into the rocks, which is already pretty decent. Scan going through towards the sensor tower, scouting positions to ensure the army of Solar doesn't get through, but he is getting through. Oh my god, that one single Viper though, suiciding itself into nothing. Solar will get a lot of ghosts down for his efforts, but is this enough? Is this enough to push Bunny not to get an attack going for a little while longer? Bunny was a little bit slower on his transition too, to be honest. His +3/+3 is a lot later compared to what you usually see. He doesn't have as many medivacs as he had before. He lost a couple. He did this to get as many Widow Mines ongoing as possible to deal a lot of damage. But he will not have a lot of Widow Mines with his main army. You can see his army actually trying to fight against Lings and Bane over here. One single tank holding its own against these many Banelings. But the planetary is definitely going down. And all of a sudden Solar finds a way to strike back. So many ghosts undefended. This is a disaster for Bunny. Who needs those adaptive talents? Who needs those seismic spines? I don't even have lurkers in my army, and I'm absolutely annihilating Bunny. Solar takes game number 2 with a swift maneuver. What a weird turn of events. Glittering Ashes doing what Glittering Ashes does best. Protect the Sir player until he has 5 bases. That sounded wrong, I know, but I never said that maps were not important in StarCraft 2, and you know what? Turns out they are. Playing the map is the best thing you can do in this game, especially now that maps are getting much more differentiated compared to the past. Like the experimental map pools we've had every year for like the last 4 years have really worked out in a way that developed the meta. Talking about maps, of course. It's weird to say meta about maps, but yeah, you know what I mean. Now we have a couple standard maps, and all the other maps are just more fleshed out to be played in a different style than the standard maps. We're on 2000 atmospheres right now though, which is the most vanilla you can get, and probably the best map we've ever had in StarCraft 2. props to the map makers, because this map is just honestly perfect. I don't really see a single issue with this. Spore Council to save the drone. Nothing to see here. And it's gonna be a Crypt Tumor being laid down by the Queen. And the Reaper unable to get anything done towards it. It's 6 Lings this time to defend these Crypt Tumors. Verdacho is going down as well. Bunny trying to get something done with the Reaper. Playing it a little bit too risky. But of course, the Xenomosphere just has the double Reaper Cleave. So it's all good. It's an early Steam with a 2-1 opener from Bunny, mixing stuff up. 2-on-1 it is. No third Rex. It's gonna be a starport incoming. Reactor next to this factory to probably try to get the double Medivacs out as soon as possible. And then the factory will be used to get some defensive units after that. If you want, because you can just get a, you know, like, Widow Mines and just be all out again. Will that happen? I seriously doubt it. Marines being spread on the map, being sent out. Steam is almost finished. Combat shields will be started immediately after, and you can see lots of Marines on the field. These lanes will get a very good scouting information. And Solar will be getting a couple more units in the next minute, I think. Lane's trying to get a little bit more scouting information, trying to get something through, seeing the army of Bunny walking through the middle. Bunny knows better. He will keep his army back home and defend against that. Baneling nest before the lair, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Banelings are going to be much needed in this early defense. Double Medivac popping out just about now. At least one of them. 12 more lanes incoming, combo shields started. All pieces falling into place. Bunny will just patiently wait for his second Medivac to pop out and send his platoon into an offensive position. Lots of Queens to defend over here, so I don't really see Bunny striking through this location. Over here though, much more doable. Unless he wants to lower the Queen amount, which is also a good play. Crypt Tumors gonna be the focus as of now. Bunny not really playing to his strength yet. Doesn't want to overdo it. He's gonna steam through those rocks. He's gonna work against a lot of lanes over here. On creep, not the best. But of course, Steam Marines are gonna do what they do best and deflect these attacks. One Widow Mine being sent in the middle of all those Marines. Over here on the left side, Queens being left for defense. Bunny has a lot of army over here. I don't think 5 Queens can do it against this. 3 full Medivacs trying to fly into the main. There's 1 Spore Crawler to greet them, which is a very good preemptive play. But the Medivacs will fly right through that. There's 1 Widow Mine for defense over here, trying to lay down before the lanes get into position. Oh no! That's a death spawning pool. It takes a while for this to remake. And Bunny, yes, he lost quite some army against those Banelings, but he got paid right in front of his eyes with his own spawning pool. Bunny is pretty much happy with this. Doesn't really look like he's doing much. So I will just try to get Banelings for the time being. No, you cannot really replace his lanes for a while. Spawning pool almost finished yet again. Bunny will try to strike on the right side. The Widow Mine not going down when Bunny needed it. Really worked against him. There's 1 tank with his army though. being hidden before walking towards this watchtower. Well, flying towards this watchtower. Bailing speed is done. +1/+1 in the making for both players. It's gonna be finished for Bunny just about now. Hitting with the perfect timing attack. The tanks are into position. They will try to deflect the queens before they can get into the medivacs. On top of the medivacs, at least. The Banelings rolling through, and there's not much in the way of killing the Banelings, honestly. These tanks are doing their best. But is their best enough? It looks like it barely is. But in the end, Solar will be able to deflect this, losing all of his Banelings in his efforts. And Overseer almost losing a queen as well. The Transfuses, though, are nothing to scoff upon. These lanes trying to buy some time for the Banelings to hatch out of those eggs. Finally, one of the queens falls down, but the Banelings have been finished. The rest of the army of Bunny is trying to get through the middle, fighting against the lanes being sent out by Solar to cut out the reinforcements over here. It looks like Solar will force Bunny to just collect whole of his army into the medivacs and fly away. But it's not done yet with the Crushing Drilling Claws incoming. Concussive shells as well to bulk up the army with Marauders to fight against the Banelings and have some Widow Mines drop down those shots and try to kill as many Banelings as possible before they can get on top of the army yet, just like they did now. Banelings killing a lot of Marines. They will retreat from that location. Not the best place to leave your army in between two ramps. Banelings can be extra deadly. Beautiful run-by incoming over here will be found out very luckily by this one command center flying into the 4th base for Bunny. Over here on the right side, Solar not really able to spread creep as much as he wants, but Bunny not really able to get any damage towards that 4th base of Solar as well. Who's now getting a 5th one, which is going to be much more exposed, being this close to the base of Bunny, and of course being almost under the threat of the watchtower. Will be more compared to the base on the right side for one small reason. No rocks. Rocks. Hive incoming, as well as the usual Lurker Den. Solar playing again to his strength, getting those stack out faster than his opponent and punishing him for not dealing damage earlier on. And that +2 almost completed, and that's exactly what you need to fight against these many Marines. The Marines need to get something done. The Banelings being more just under the nose of Bunny. Will there be enough time? The Widow Mines do not really get the crazy good connections that Bunny is accustomed to us throughout this series. And it looks like in the end the army of Bunny will be shooed away. Transition at the ready for Bunny too. You can see the Ghost Academy. The Liberators incoming. It's pretty much... Oh, no. Yeah, I'm gonna keep a close eye for this because... Alright. Come on, Solar. You know better. That would have been a funny way to end this game. Over on the right side, of course, Bunny trying to slow down creep. He wants to keep control of these watchtowers as much as possible. And another shot went through, killing only one link. Alright. Not gonna fear the worst for a little while at least. Both players relaxing for a while. Bunny getting his Ghost, getting his Widow Mines, getting Cloak, getting +3/+3, getting Liberators, getting T200 supply as well. While Solar is getting all of the upgrades. Adrenaline Glands, missile attack for his soon-to-be lurkers, of course, as well as seismic spines. I think adaptive talents wasn't researched yet. Yeah, it wasn't. And of course, carapace for his army. That's a lot of banelings. It feels like Solar might go again for something just like game number 2. There's not much splash damage over here, and there's Vipers to stop the Liberators from getting what they want. Banelings rolling through the middle. That's a lot of Marines in this army. And here comes the parasitic bombs on top of the Medivacs to stop them from saving the Marines. In the end, though, Solar will not manage to find the red carpet he found before. There's an ITaX going into the main. I missed this. And it's network incoming. What's in the worm? What's in the worm? Well, let's 3 Widow Mines waiting for this. And here goes the leads. The Widow Mine shot goes through immediately, and that's not much being sent out by Solar, who's now burrowing a couple links that are just gonna be forcing a scan before being killed. Over here though, Solar sending his army through the middle. The Liberators are not sieged in, and there's not really a concave ongoing over here. The Hydras will get a kill on top of the Liberators, and these whole mineral line will be annihilated here on the right side. The Marines are trying to do their best to defend against these Hydras. Started stepping forward. It does look like Solar wants to go in for the kill yet again. These ghosts are pretty much undefended. Here comes the Overseer, and here comes the Banelings. They do have a lot of health. They do tank a lot of damage. In the end, Bunny will barely defend. But this base over here was a juicy target. Planetary Fortress out there for the defense. And Solar knows better. Decides not to send his army right through the planetary. In the end result is pretty much the same. He will lose whatever was left of his army without getting much done. Still, very good attack from Solar, who's now about to send more links through over here into the main. Just, you know what, seeing if there's a little bit of ground for his lurkers to maybe try and get on top of that production. That's what you want to do mostly with those Nidus worms. Links are just out there for checking out if the time is right. Oh, Solar sending yet another wave in. This looks like a campaign mission to me. Ghosts are not the best against those Banelings, and yet again, lots and lots of workers are gonna fall down. And so will this planetary. The Nidus worm is going into the main again. And as I was saying, just checking the ground. The links are being sent in, and now the lurkers are through. Scan goes through as well. And it looks like Bunny is just gonna tap out. Solar takes game number 3. Another game, another story to tell. Series has been quite straightforward so far. We've not seen any U-turn from any of those two players. The most different thing we've seen so far was last game, Bunny going for a 2-1-1 opener, and honestly not getting much with that. It's difficult to expect anything different from Solar, honestly. As I was saying, developing quite a greedy playstyle, and as you can see, not without any merit. He's not greedy for the sake of being greedy. He is greedy because he loses close to nothing in the early stages of the game, even working with a weaker army compared to most Zerg players. When they say like players try to learn as much as possible from other players, it really shows in the way Solar has developed his playstyle throughout the years. It really shows how much he's been studying players like Zero, because he developed a very similar playstyle to the Finnish Zerg. And honestly, bringing that European style into Korea, brought in some success. Can't wait to see if he can bring it a little bit more even more in the past, more forward, sorry. What am I saying? In the future, not in the past. Of course. The GSL is over. It's gonna be a little bit of time for those players to prepare for the incoming bigger events. Not a lot of time, but yeah, you get some. Alright, Bunny with a first out of the StarCraft Viking opener to get map control instead of the Banshee cloak we've seen. This is as standard as you can get. Will we see a Liberator as well with this? No. It's gonna be the Reactor to get the Medivacs out. Well, not the Medivacs, mostly the Marines. Well, actually the Medivacs. Another Rex, which will be soon. Get the Stack Lab as an add-on. Again, Marauders, Gusty Shells, and Combat Shields out. You can see Bunny really struggling to keep up with his economy though. Like right now, the cutting corners I was talking about on the side of Solar is already kind of paving in the way. His army is just a couple links, and it doesn't even have a lair incoming, I feel, right? Yeah, it doesn't even have a lair incoming, so no painliness for fast paints on the field yet. It does have 2 Evo Chambers, but that's greedy. Like, you can see over here, Missile Attack and Carpets, this is very greedy, guys. Not getting a lair at this stage, like 520 instead of like 445, 440, or even 430. It's a greedy play. In the Hands of Solar, honestly, nothing to see here. He will defend. I just know he will. And Bunny will not strike in full might for a little while longer. His play is also quite a greedy play. Not in the way of economy, but in the way of tech. Mostly. Wants to get as much tech out as possible to develop a strong timing attack in the next few minutes. And Solar knows just exactly when he needs to have stuff out on the field. And this is not the moment. The moment's gonna be in a little while. And it's gonna be pretty strong in that moment, honestly. There, and Bailey Nest finishing at the same time. Bailey's feed will be started immediately. You know, the drill, guys. Just when Bunny flies out of his own main base. 2 tanks with his army. That's not a strong bio army on the ground. But it's still gonna be pretty annoying for Solar to break through this, especially on Hardwire, with these much high ground, low ground, rocks, and obstacles all together to get on top of the tanks. Then sieging up in the high ground, here on the low ground, that screens to stop the Medivacs from flying too forward. Crit Teamers are of course the main focus over here. The Leans will try to get on top of here, but of course with the rock still being up, there's no way around, there's no way to cut reinforcements, so Solar needs to fight head on, and it's never what you want to do as a Reserve player. The Queens will hold their ground for as much as it takes for the Banelings to complete and stop rolling through on top of the tanks. Banelings speed not finished yet, a little bit of a surrounding coming, actually is a very good surround. It looks like Bunny decided to fight for a little more than I was expecting. He will collect 1 full Medivac and fly into the usual position over here, only to be flying away with the rest of his Medivacs before losing too much. Solar taking his 4th base. Bunny still a little bit away from that. Now Crit Team are being spread in a very aggressive way, and you can see Solar having tons and tons of lanes and wanting to do something with them before getting his transition into Hydra. Infestation Pit incoming. as well, pretty much standard time, but over here cutting a lot of reinforcements. The Widowmine will not get a good shot. And you can see tanks and marines alike falling down to the army of Solar, which is now getting a little bit too far. I don't really see this working out in favor of Bunny. His army was way too slow to come back home for defense, and it's also spread out very thin. 7 SCVs falling down, and you can see Lins fighting on top of Marines, and actually almost winning the fight as well. This was marvelous from Solar. Absolutely outstanding counterattack, and Bunny not having those splash damage key units on the field for him will definitely come back to bite him in the next few minutes. Losing these many workers, losing these many marines, not the best that could happen. While Solar almost maxed out, getting tons of Banelings on the field, tons of Lings as well, and ooh, Widowmine's starting to hurt. And of course getting, yeah, these Banelings were a little bit overkill. But in the end, the most important thing of, oh no, Nender through. Oh boy. And they will just burrow. That's a lot of drones of SCVs, sorry, in this location. Did Bunny actually manage to find these Lings? A couple of them will burrow to destroy the economy of Bunny, who's actually trying to strike over here on the top right. Will kill the lurker then. Bunny biting back, but his economy is in shambles right now. Still lots and lots of Lings burrowed over here. Bunny might think he's through with this, but he really isn't. He really isn't. Solar just waiting for the right moment to unburrow these Lings and kill even more SCVs over here. Oh yes, they will unburrow right now and kill 3 more SCVs. Widowmines killing their own marines. While Solar is maxed out again, Bunny is really struggling in both economy and army. Lanes will be found out in the middle by these Widowmine. There's not a lot of Hydras with his army, but there's not a lot of Widowmines with the army of Bunny either. What?
Game paused.
Okay. Well, that was one Widowmine shot, wasn't it? What a way to come back into the game, I guess. Yikes. Rocks still being up, they're gonna be broken down by Solar. He wants to have as much control into positioning as possible. Oh, and he's gonna try to walk through the middle. Widowmines! Oh, wow, one shot was great, the other really wasn't. Can these Banelings roll through the defenses of Bunny? I don't think they will break through until they will, actually. Well, it still doesn't deal enough damage. Bunny hurting on the other side of the map with these Widowmines and killing 10 drones. But it does feel like too many of those Banelings were just suiciding onto the supply depots. Am I the only one who saw that? Solar still ahead in economy, but you know what? Doesn't really matter too much against Terran. He will drop down his mules, he will have a strong economy himself. And the only thing to look out is the Vespine gas income, and that's pretty much equal. Actually, it's in favor of Bunny right now. The army composition is a little bit better on the side of Solar, but we've seen how he struggled against Ghost in the first game, so he's just definitely not gonna try and go too heavily into lurkers. That's my bet, at least. Yeah, we can see more and more Banelings. And these Widowmines, will they get the shot they need? No, they won't. These shots are absolutely tragic for Bunny. And other Banelings will just stream through like a river. Finally, some decent Widowmine shots. But you can see the Vipers and the Hydras just simply walking towards that ramp without a single care in the world. And now the Banelings will roll through to the victory of Solar in this first series of today.